The documentary you're about to watch is the most important documentary I've ever made. This story is far bigger than Tommy Robinson. This is about the weaponisation and the politicisation of these buildings. Court buildings across the West. The Royal Courts of Justice, ironically named. These buildings have been weaponised and used against members of the public to destroy them if they speak out. From Donald Trump to Steve Bannon, to Geert Wilders, to Marie Le Pen, to Katie Hopkins. That's what's happening. My job as a journalist, I stand for freedom of speech, I stand for freedom of the press. And I failed, because 3 years ago when I lost a court case in here, and they bankrupted me to the tune of £1.6 million on a documentary, you're going to see the entire story was a lie, okay? I failed because I should have come out of court and I should have played you that film. Why didn't I play you that film? Because I was given a gagging order by this building, by this judge. I was silenced, and I allowed them to silence me because I was scared. I was scared of 2 years in prison. I was scared of the effect that solitary confinement for that length of time would have on me. I was scared of jihadi gangs in jail, and I was scared of the effect it would have on my family. I failed me and I failed you. I'm not going to fail myself again. You're now going to watch the best citizen journalism and the most incredible expose of the establishment you've ever seen. The news is how we find out what's happening in the world. It's how we form our opinions. Opinions based on facts. That's the key. Facts. Facts should be delivered to you by journalists based on the truth. But what if what they're delivering you isn't the truth? What if it's stories that are manipulated to make you think a certain way, to follow a certain narrative, different people's agendas? And what do they do to those who go against that mainstream narrative? Those who try to expose the truth. This is a documentary about the lengths they will go to shut down and silence anyone from bringing you, the British public, the truth.
Right, Jamal, they are. What's saying away?
I lost my job over this.
Non-disclosure agreements.
He's a nasty little piece of shit. Swung the hockey stick over his head and hit me in the spine with it.
Well, it's all there, isn't it?
This kid was out unconscious already. That's just malicious.
I'm not standing, you're not going, but no, because what you're doing, I know what you're doing.
Tommy, I am gonna mince your kids, mate.
This is a documentary about the unholy alliance between the media, the justice system, and our politicians. How they conspire to suppress free speech, how they pervert democracy, and how the truth and your freedoms are just two of the casualties. We will show how the mainstream media deceives people, how they ignore the truth, how the lies of the virtue signalling BBC, ITV and Channel 4 are all about their poisonous agenda, no matter the cost to innocent people. It's also a documentary about how an everyday playground incident between two young lads was spun into global news, at a terrible cost to so many people, not least the two young lads themselves. We will show how the law is being abused, how people driven by hateful ideologies attempt to intimidate and silence anyone who dares to challenge the so-called progressive, so-called liberal narrative. We will show the foolishness of our fear-driven political leaders who jumped on a story, took a side without knowing the truth. Or worse still, knowing it but hiding it, because the truth didn't fit their narrative, regardless of the human cost. And we'll ask three important questions. Firstly, is the media accountable to anyone, in any way, for what they report? Years after the Leveson inquiry, has anything changed, or do they continue to act with impunity? Secondly, is our legal system still fit for purpose? We will show how lawyers who hate Britain but love jihadi warriors have weaponised the law system against us, and how the legal system really only works for the rich. And finally, how do we keep our politicians accountable? If the police, the courts and the state can silence anyone for speaking inconvenient truths, truths that may raise questions about government policy, is the UK any different from China, Russia or Iran in their treatment of dissidents? And of course, for Piers Morgan, for Jeremy Fine, for the BBC, ITV and Channel 4, it's a tutorial on journalism. Keep watching it, you'll learn a lot. Our story appears to start and end in a brief playground incident at Almondbury Community School in Huddersfield. A playground scuffle. One boy poured a bottle of water on another child. The school dealt with it, and that should have been that. 3 weeks later, however, A video clip of the incident surfaced, and within hours, with the help of lawyers and the ignorant rantings of ITV's Piers Morgan and the BBC's Jeremy Vine, it was made into a global news event. And the lives of so many people were turned upside down. Such playground incidents happen every day. So why was this spat between two boys transformed into global news? Well, one of the boys was white and the other a Syrian refugee, at which point the truth of the matter was buried beneath an avalanche of agendas and opportunism. Within hours, the Race Hate Brigade was sharpening their blades.
Well, clearly when somebody comes from Syria, fleeing Assad's regime, coming to a place like this, when they get treated that way, that's an issue. And the whole world is looking at us.
Where are we? We're in Almondbury. Do I say the scene of the incident? Is it a scene in the incident? It's the scene of the Great Lie. I call it the Great Lie because this lie was pushed around the globe. Yeah? This here is the school where the world was told a Syrian refugee was waterboarded by a racist English bully. It was in a playing field here, and do you know what? This is the first time I've been here. Because when this blew up on the news, it's a child's school. Kids are in school. I didn't come outside here. You'd see the scenes outside here where the Imam was here with mobs of men, yeah? Mobs of Muslim men. Extremists travelled up from London, such as Ali Dawah, to cause a scene outside this kids' school. Anyway, but I'm here. Why am I here? I'm here because I face a court case. I'm being prosecuted. It's gone to the High Court, and I have to prove. I made a video stating that it was a lie, stating that Jamal wasn't innocent, and telling some facts about Jamal beating up girls, an instance that I'd been warned about by the members of this community to tell the truth about what happened at this school. I've got to prove it in court, so I've come to Huddersfield. I'm now going to knock. I need to find witnesses. I've got addresses for many. I need to knock and talk to them and see who I can get to come to court to help me prove to you, the public. This is about as much as proving in court as proving to you, the British public, that I was the only journalist in the country who told the truth about what happened in this community. The story you were told. You were told that a vulnerable Syrian child refugee had been bullied and waterboarded by a nasty white boy. You were told it was a racist attack. You were told of the dangers of far-right extremism. You were invited to agree that this kind of intolerance could not be tolerated. Was he vulnerable? Was it a racist attack? Our evidence shows the answers to both these questions was no. Was the Syrian lad waterboarded? Why was this word used? What about this? Was that waterboarding? Take a look at this. It shows a group of non-white children beating up a white girl. It went viral online, but it wasn't touched by the mainstream media. It wasn't made into a global story. Why not? Meanwhile, the usual suspects had lit the fire and were gleefully stoking the flames.
Everybody was exposing the scumbag that did this, who I hope gets severe retribution.
And of course, the politicians. They're always quick to jump on the bandwagon. Theresa May, Sajid Javid, Naz Shah, Nicholas Soames, Winston Churchill's grandson. Such moral outrage. And it's not just the media and the politicians. In today's Twitter and Facebook driven worlds where celebrities and groups compete to virtue signal, most of them driven by the warm feeling they get by expressing their moral outrage, or by fear. The fear of what might happen to them if they don't. Everyone who's anyone pumped the Bailey Jamal story. Boxers, Lennox Lewis, Huddersfield Football Club, celebrities from across the globe. Let's have a look at all of the celebrities and blue tick brigade who pumped the Jamal story. And here are some of the people who pumped the story you watched earlier of the white girl getting beaten up. Sadly, whether it's politicians, celebrities or other groups, none of them are wise enough or pause long enough to ask whether they have the whole story, to check the facts, to find the truth. But why let the truth get in the way of such a good story? And this story was just too good a story. Two lads in a playground scrap is not international news. But racist white thug waterboards helpless Syrian refugee, boom! Racism can't be tolerated, beware of the far right. That's their kind of story. We'll hear more about the militant left later. but they clearly weren't going to miss out on this.